First, we don't have, by practice, for these small systems, any reliable data that is field measured in this country.
Okay.
And second, because they are small, they are not putting the knowledgeable operator that care about efficiency. Their main prime focus is reliability.
Yes.
As operator. And I have one example on Sheikh Zayed Road. I think it was National Bank of Abu Dhabi in Dubai, where they had 3 centrifugal chillers. Because of oversizing, they put double the size. They had low delta T syndrome, and they ended up with 1.2, 1.3 kilowatt per ton. So I always say it's more difficult to manage smaller systems.
It is difficult. And
to put the knowledgeable stuff.
But I can tell you on this system which we have, I'm talking about 0.6 kilowatt per ton on the chiller, as well as variable primary loop on the chillers, which will take care of your low delta T syndrome. Plus a control system which is supplied by the manufacturer in this case, that takes care of the proper controls of the chiller plant. I would say that the likelihood that this system will outperform a district cooling plant is very high. That's my other point. I am also involved in another instance. If you can allow me just one more minute. I'm seeing 6,000 tons. Okay, so if I can say in another instance. Where I can see the water cost is, one client has a very high water cost, like 10.6 dirhams per cubic meter. When we did the analysis with whether they should go this way or that way, we found out that the air-cooled chiller was even giving almost same life cycle cost on the whole overall project. It's about 5,000 ton project. It's a remote area in Abu Dhabi. It's a remote area in Abu Dhabi. So
sorry, I think we should move on.
All right, thanks.
Thank you very much. I think we should move on to the next topic, please. Thanks a million. Do you have any clarification, Jury? Any clarification points? Yeah? Okay, thank you very much. Thanks.
I guess we have 25 minutes? Okay. Next topic, we start now. Okay, go ahead. Which one? Next topic, it's the delivering on promises and meeting cooling requirements on schedule?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay. Can we call Mr. Darmash, someone from LG, please?
Yes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's the first time in the witness box and probably the last time. Yes.
Hi, Damesh.
Hi.
I believe you do a lot of residential type systems, and you do commercial systems as well?
Yes, it's mostly focused on residential villa projects as well as schools, horizontal development mostly.
Okay, good. Delivering on promises, I mean, you have certain products which you have certain outputs, certain tolerances and things. You guarantee outputs of those. Do you see those systems actually installed on site? Do you do the installation as well?
We don't do the installations directly, but we have some dealers who does the installation of our air conditioning systems.
And what about doing the commissioning of those systems? Do you get involved on that side?
Yes, we do get involved in the commissioning. We support the contractors in the commissioning of the systems, especially the VRF system.
Okay, so if you have a certain output of a machine, you can then guarantee that that machine is delivering that output on site?
Yes, it is more or less
under actual conditions, yeah?
Yes, yes.
Okay, could you maybe give a bit more information on that side?
Okay, especially I would like to touch the subject on the VRF system because it's quite a new system and very innovative. It's very easy to commission, and traditionally if you see the air conditioning units, you used to do it manually, but VRF system you can just connect to a laptop and you can see all the parameters. It's like checking the parameters of a district cooling plant or a chiller on the screen. So here you can get all the parameters like subcooling and superheat and the discharge pressure and temperature. So it's easy in commissioning. And at the same time, somebody talk about the COP, like how do we achieve a higher COP in the VRF system, is because since we control the subcooling, because VRF has a lot of sensors and a lot of solenoid valves, which helps in achieving the higher subcooling and also the higher superheat. And of course, the electronic expansion valve is there in the VRF system, which helps in controlling the superheat temperature. Yeah.
This particular topic is delivering on promises and meeting cooling requirements on schedule.
Yes.
So whereas a district cooling plant, there's a lot more thought got to go into the process of the civil works before it can produce district cooling. They've got to do maybe substructure, dig big holes in the ground, put basements in. With standalone systems, you can go in at the same time as the building. I mean,
yeah.
Do you do any engineering at all on your systems?
Yeah, in fact, when we come into the picture, already the cooling load is quite clear, and there are no more assumptions. We are clear about the U factors, and we are clear about the equipment schedules. So it's easy just to select the machines as per the requirement of the building.
And you are just delivered as required by the contractor, so the contractor will place an order on you and then you'll deliver. So in terms of air conditioning being required for the building for maybe wild cooling for the fit-out works, your system can be installed on time, can meet deadlines.
Yeah, means when any manufacturer enters in such kind of project, the project is normally planned by the contractors, and they give enough time for the suppliers to meet the delivery, like 2 to 3 months delivery. So we don't face any problem in delivering the goods on time.
Okay. Good. Yeah. And what about the commissioning? I mean, if you talk about VRV systems, you've got there's no flushing of the systems as such as you've got on chill water systems. So bringing the systems online is a lot quicker than it would be maybe for a district cooling plant, for instance.
Paul, for the interest of the public, can he explain what is VRF system? I don't think everybody understands it.
Sure.
Okay. Let me just tell the crowd. The VRF is like one outdoor which can be connected to multiple indoor units, and it's a variable refrigerant flow, and that's the short form or the full form of VRF. And each indoor unit has its own electronic expansion valve, which controls the flow of the refrigerant as per the demand of the load. And it has an inverter compressor, which varies the frequency as per the load, and that's how we get a better efficiency even at partial load.
Okay, so it's like a multi-split system.
It's a multi-split because traditionally the horizontal development, let's say villas, traditionally were ducted splits. Usually it was 9 to 10 outdoor units, but the problem was it used to consume a lot of space on the roof, the condensing units, and also the power input was quite high, and it was putting an extra burden on the infrastructure. And that's where VRF, the innovation came in the VRF, and we could reduce the infrastructure cost by reducing the power input, because the COP we are talking about 4.3 in cooling, and since villas there is not much of piping, so there are not much of losses. Yes.
Have you come across any problems in your system with a district cooling? They'll have a contracted date when they have to deliver chill water to a building. In terms of bringing your systems online, have you come across any problems? And actually,
no, to be very frank, the contractors, since they have a deadline to finish the project, and they're doing a very fantastic job of pushing the suppliers to get the machines on time. Okay. So we didn't face most of the time no problem at all.
So it's a good alternative to district cooling.
We have observed, in fact, the national housing project, for example, in Abu Dhabi, it was initially designed on district cooling system, and then we are working on some couple of projects in the design stage. Mm-hmm. Now it is being designed on VRF system. The reasons, I think is mainly what they say is because of the capital cost. The capital cost for putting the district cooling plant is quite high, and the VRF system is lower, because they don't have any other option but to go for VRF, because they want to reduce the infrastructure cost, and also they want to fit in the infrastructure of the district cooling which was designed on. So the VRF is the only solution.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
George?
So normally VRF system, any manufacturer, it's 15 years if it is maintained properly. Yes, sir.
George,
minimum
can I add something,
can
George?
be 12 to 15 years. Yeah, 12 to 15.
I have a question from the crowd and one from my own.
Yeah.
maintaining clean DX tube is very essential during installation. Knowing the contractor in this country, we see a lot of stones and we have a lot of refrigerant, long refrigerant piping. Maintaining them clean is very difficult. Flushing them is quite impossible to use water and to dry it later. So you have a challenge to have a clean and decent contractor. The second challenge is that if you have leak rates of refrigerant and you have refrigerant piping all over, how is that addressed and managed? And I'm sure Mike have additional questions.
Yeah, it was quite an expected question. Let me just take the first question. Yes, it is a DX system. It's like any other DX system. It needs regular maintenance and cleaning. But the advantage for VRF, installation of the pipes. Okay. Let me just answer. Now how VRF came into the picture, because initially it was normal ducted splits where you have 9 to 10 outdoor units with 9 to 10 set of pipes coming down. Now in VRF we have only 1 or maximum 2 set of pipe coming down, so the piping is less. So the contractor should be happy about it. Okay, and second thing is about cleaning the condensing units. The doing the refrigerant pipes, right? So it's easier compared to earlier, like we were having 9 to 10 risers coming down, but now you will have only 1 or 2 risers coming down. So it's easier. And second thing, even for the maintenance or the service or the cleaning, we have only 1 or 2 condensing, let's say, per villa. So it's also easy to service. And about the second question about the leak, yes, it's a DX system. Refrigerant is flowing into it, and if there's any leakage, the system trips. Okay, but it doesn't stop the leakage. The installation has to be done properly.
So if you have a multi-story building,
yeah,
you put mechanical rooms on multiple floors.
Normally, if it is kept on the same floor, the condensing unit is kept on the same floor, it is feasible, but it's not feasible to go for VRF for a very high-rise building.
Okay. And then on a VRF, what's the limitation on piping? How far can you go?
Piping, we can go like elevation up to 100, 110 meters. The separation between the outdoor and the indoor unit, the vertical separation. Okay. But it's not feasible to go such a long elevation.
And then what happens if a compressor fails?
Yes, now, see, these kind of problems has come earlier, and all the manufacturers has done some innovations in their product. And in case of VRF, we have multiple compressors. So when if one compressor fails, the other compressor comes on automatically.
So I'm paying for extra compressors?
Yes, of course.
So I'm buying a lot of compressors that I don't need. I'm charging a guy on every floor for extra compressors?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, I have no other questions.
Sorry, a question from the crowd. Why is it called variable refrigerant volume flow rate while the cooling capacity is dependent on the weight of the refrigerant? That is one. And the second, you mentioned about cost. We know now from the market that the installed cost of VRV runs into anywhere between 11 to 13,000 dirham per ton.
Mm-hmm.
So while district cooling, we are managing it with 8,000, 9,000, including the internal system.
Let me tackle the cost question first, because that's the concern for everybody out here. 11,000, it will be a dream for us, okay, and we'll be so happy, Yeah, I'm talking about installation. I'm talking about installation cost. I would have, yes. I'm talking about total, and I think all the contractors as well as developers, they are doing a fantastic job of squeezing the suppliers. And let me tell you, it's not that figure. The figure, what is something around is, for villas, I'm talking about the horizontal development, where the piping separation is not much. It goes to around 7,000 to maximum 7,500, not more than that. I myself have experienced some projects where it is converted from other system to VRF because of the reduction in the capital cost. I'm talking about the capital cost. I'm not talking about the operating cost at all, because most of the clients, they don't care about the operating cost, although it is lower. And the first question was? Yeah. Yeah, it is, we are varying the flow of the refrigerant as per the demand of the cooling, and with the help of the electronic expansion valve in the indoor unit. So that's the reason it is known as variable refrigerant flow.
Why you don't call it variable refrigerant weight flow rate, not volume?
I think, we are varying the weight by varying the flow, isn't it? It's the same thing. Yeah.
Sorry.
Volume flow rate does not give you an indication of the cooling capacity without indicating the temperature of the refrigerant,
Yeah.
which dictates your density.
Yeah.
But if you say variable refrigerant weight flow rate, you finish it.
So more the flow, more the weight, as far as I understand.
Let me from it's about always it's about integrity.
Yes.
And I'm strange to see that maybe 40 is as a designer. If you are a designer and you have a 40, let's say between 40 to 60 floors building, vertical. I know you want to make a cells and everything. Would you go for VRV system or water-cooled system or air-cooled system? What's the most preferable from, forget about what you are as a designer specialist, which system you will go for?
If it's a 40-floor building and the condensing units are kept on the roof with indoor on each floor, I will not go for VRF because it's not feasible. Right. Also from the power point of view and also from the cost point of view, because more the piping, your cost for the piping and all increases. I think it's better to go for water-cooled chiller or air-cooled chiller.
This is where we go back always again, guys. It's about system selection, preferred criteria.
Yes.
It's about system. There is not a single solution for a single building. It could be in either way. It means we saw that VRV system could be a very good system for particular application. Air-cooled system could be very specific with variable flow for specific. Okay. Water-cooled system, when the water is not a problem available, could be good system. District cooling system, if I have all the ingredients, it must be a win-win. We will not see people paying 3,000 dirhams a month in the villa, where another guy next door is paying less. It could be. That's why we are trying to bring today. We are not against district cooling. Again, not that. In the meantime, I will call another neutral witness if the jury would need. You have a question, maybe?
I have a question.
Yes.
One question is to all of us. I think we are not, we are keep going back to the systems instead of the topic of delivering on promises. And as a user, in all my life I had been an end user. I have never been a consultant. I have never been a contractor. Lucky me. Right. All I'm saying is, when delivering on promises, all what I have seen, heard, experienced is dream promises, and they deliver a nightmare at the end of the day. Now, and Paul was talking about commissioning. He kept on asking about commissioning. I know I'm one of the people who knows that commissioning is not done at the end of any project, because I am the end user. This is another promise by the consultants, contractors, and the end user doesn't get it. So I would like somebody to address that 10 part of it, because this is the most important thing for an end user on this particular topic.
Yeah. Okay. You see, normally, generally, most of the manufacturers, they have also observed this, that commissioning is a very important stage, and most of the time it is avoided. And they constantly come up with some kind of innovation in their product. Like we have come up with in VRF, wherein the commissioning is quite easy, with just plugging to the laptop, and we just commission the system, we can see all the parameters on the screen. So yes, the manufacturers are doing their part, and I'm quite sure
If you don't mind, this is a very critical question. We can maybe push it later on to another subject, because we're going to talk about the promise, the environment impact by doing the flashing, etc. It's good, but for the purpose, we maybe push it for another topic. Okay.
My question, my worry is we are getting away from the topic. That's what, because we keep going back to the systems and systems and systems. We are not going on the topic.
No. We said keeping the promises. It's not only delivering the cooling, because keeping the promises, the goal number one in promise is delivering optimal thermal comfort. That's what the promise number one is, how we make that space, built environment comfortable with optimal energy and also with most reliable system. This is how we're going to do. That's the promise one we today is we are talking one aspect of the promises is delivering in schedule the installation and delivering the level of comfort that you expect, that we are not. But it comes back to the beginning, because we said, this system, there is not a single way out. There is not a single solution for a problem. There is always different systems.
Thank you. Can you call for next witness, because we only have, I think, 5 to 10 minutes. We can't just expand from it. Sorry? It's 2 minutes left, but we can, I think.
Okay.
Because if you have an extra witness,
we call Ahmed Dajani as a neutral witness. Ahmed, you've been working on studying the different option for one of the projects by going district cooling versus standalone system. And briefly, what was the outcome on your long studies?
I'm nobody's witness. I'm just a witness of my own technical experience.
He's neutral.
Oh,
Okay,
that may be district cooling is a very beautiful system, but it needs to have all the other parameters in order to be effective. In one of my cases, in a case that we were looking at, there was a development where time was very important, and in order to achieve the project with a certain time and to avoid the project being delayed, we had to come up with a comparison between district cooling and standalone system for that particular development. And at the end of the day, we found out that a standalone system may be better for that kind of development. Simply because we didn't have enough time to wait for the infrastructure to be laid in the streets, to have all the necessary coordination between different parties, which may not agree on each and every part of the project. And that's why when we had a look at it, we had a look at it from different views. We had a look at it from a VRF system, an air-cooled chilled water system, versus the district cooling. And although we thought, and we always believe that district cooling system is more efficient, we had to recommend a standalone system, because somewhere else we had another project with a huge amount of load, which was set to be done using district cooling system. For some reasons, that system did not take off yet. So we thought, on the other hand, we're going to give a chance for the other development to use a standalone to see whether they can reach construction stage in a shorter time.
Where we are, it's still in the study, is it under construction, where we are with on this project?
No, the study has been delivered to the clients, but the project now is facing its next stage with its the program management on from the design onward. So that was it.
From our side, I mean, we say that there is now a lot of rental companies that are renting chillers when district cooling is late, that is bridging the time between the plant need to be complete, typically, which is 18 months to 24 months to build a plant room and network. So was that considered as a temporary solution to provide the chilled water when you saw that district cooling would be late?
No, there was another thing that, yeah, no, that was not considered in the study.
Judy? Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think we're going to continue after lunch. We're going to break now for lunch, and we will meet again at 2:45, please, and we'll be in the same room, please. Thank you. I guess I must say court adjourned. Thank you.
Get out of here.
Dr. Nawal, we are honored by your presence. Thank you very much. And we'd like also to thank our sponsors once again, Daikin McQuay, Teshem and Kamstrup, for supporting this event, which is quite unique. And they have really shown true signs of leadership in supporting us. So we'd like to thank them. Now we'd like to call you down for lunch. The lunch will happen downstairs in the, obviously, the lunch area in hall number 7. And we shall resume at 2:45, correct? Thank you very much. Bon appétit.
That's fine. Thank you, guys. Hope we had a nice lunch. I guess to keep up a little bit with the debate, and we make it a real debate now. The morning just was an introduction, so we're going to call a very important witness now, Mr. Hans from TCAM, to be our witness here, or neutral witness, whatever you want to call it, and give us a little bit of feedback on a number of aspects regarding meeting the promises. Yes. So, Hans, I guess we have your banner on the back. You are specialized in delivering metering and sub-metering and smart metering, and you had a chance to work on a number of projects, diverse projects, and particularly for a district cooling network. When we talk about meeting promises of a district cooling or any system, it's meeting the expectation, or meeting also the design intent or the intent of the installation. And one of today's problems with district cooling, seriously, we felt that we are not meeting our deliverable. We are not meeting the promises to people, and people are paying more, way more, than they're expected. And for them, it's a source of frustration. Can you elaborate more on this regarding the feeling and the satisfaction of the client regarding this aspect? Thank you.
Thank you, Nazar. Let me start by giving the fact that the district cooling industry, or the standalone industry like we defined it today here, they're both identical because they deliver, apart from the split units, they deliver a shared utility for the final consumer. Unfortunately, the final consumer, the end consumer, was not taken into consideration as much during the last time. This led to many problems, technical problems in regards of oversizing the building, on high capacity charge, on unsatisfied consumers who do not understand what they are paying for. Moreover, many district cooling buildings and chillers, I'll call them chillers now, standalone units, don't know the consumption. The tenants don't know the consumption. And this is a very, the sad reality here, that we say we want to go green, we want to reduce energy, carbon footprint, how to make them happy, but we don't make the end consumer aware or know his consumption, and we don't give him a tool to reduce his consumption and subsequently make him happy. So I think that in regards of metering, there is a lot that should be done, because it's not only about putting a meter in. Like most of you gentlemen and ladies know, there are many buildings here that have an existing metering infrastructure put in, but not commissioned, in existing buildings. And this is a very big problem.
We can say today, if we keep going on this way, we don't measure, we don't improve, we don't manage, and down the road it could be a killing point for the district cooling. That's why a lot of people are driving away from the district cooling for this reason, because simply the client or end user is not happy, is not satisfied, because he's paying a lot more than he could expect.
May I just elaborate on one thing? You said he's paying much more. What is your definition of much more? More than what? More,
regardless the system, if we put a standalone villa here, or a building here, box, a built environment, if you have a built environment and one with standalone system and one with district cooling, we have cases that they are paying much more really than normal. That's why I said it could be DX system, it could be VRV versus district cooling.
Much more, because people simply take the average. If you have a non-metered building, you have one sum, which is the district cooling bill, which is allocated to the tenants. In case of chillers, you have something else, call it the electricity bill. And you have to allocate them to the tenants, either through a tariff or through an allocation method. And if you don't have a measuring device, you end up finding people consuming. We did studies ourselves in Dubai to prove to the client that in an unmetered building, one apartment next to the other one, same floor, same space, consumes 11 times more than the other one. 11 times. And this is the disaster, because they're both paying the same. And they're both subsequently treated in an unfair way. And then the claim comes on the district cooling provider. They say district cooling is expensive. But their consumption pattern in the building is indifferent. So we have to go a step deeper, seriously deeper, into the end consumer. Not just putting meters and said we've done our dues. No, we have to look into the consumption pattern and into the allocation pattern. How do we allocate the cost?
I agree, because it's very important that if you have 2 or 3 flats on the same floor, one, the gentleman is traveling, is just keeping only minimum fresh air running, and the other one is using at the peak. At the end of the month, both of them, because the nature of the tarification system is not accurate, both of them are paying the same. So, and one of the tenants said, why I'm conserving energy, why I'm doing this, why I have to pay? There is something wrong on the system of tarification. And what's that? It comes back down to the transfer of money. The district provider transfer that money to the owner operator that transfer that money to the end user. At the end, the end user, there is no
object, Your Honor. I mean, the subject of cost and the end user is tomorrow, and today we're out of the subject.
I'm taking it, I agree. I'm taking it, meeting expectation is not only meeting expectation on comfort. Very important. I meet expectation from well-being. I could be comfortable psychologically, but from the set mind, I'm not. That's why. I agree with you.
There is also a saying here. Is this a deficiency in the district cooling application or a deficiency in executing the system, the billing system? There is a big difference.
That's right. We talked today about the application. Well, like you said this morning, the application of district cooling, there is a missing ring here, a missing piece to close the loop. And that missing piece is affecting seriously the end user. I guess for the juries, that's the point here. Why I have to pay compared to another system very high?
Cost is tomorrow.
I don't agree. I don't agree.
I disagree.
I'm going to go to the judge.
Okay, can we just, are we done with this witness?
That's fine.
George? Yeah, jury? Thank you very much. So, yeah. Excuse me, just 1 minute.
Yeah. As the end user, I totally agree with you about the metering requirements, sub-metering requirements, because without seeing it, you can't monitor it, you can't save it. And there's no incentive for the user to save further, which is very, very true. But my question is, you mentioned commissioning of meters. Can you elaborate a little bit? How do you commission the meters, or no?
Tomorrow or now?
No, yeah, this is just not applicable to today's or to this session, which is basically on delivering on promises.
Okay.
So let's just focus and leave it for tomorrow. Thank you very much. Are we done from your witnesses? Can district cooling start their witnesses now? Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
We will call Mr. Adib Mudabbir. From Managing Director of Emicool, and we start immediately. Adib, when you are late in building district cooling plant, like it happened in Motor City, and you have to supply some of the villas and some of the building, what did the district cooling do first to tackle that? Second, you did not have sewage, you did not have water, you struggled with electricity. How did you deal with the challenges of infrastructure to service your customers?
First of all, I want to, before entering the infrastructure cost, I want to elaborate a little bit on something which, because I'm sorry I was not here in the morning. I think the key parameter in evaluating this debate is we need to understand really, are we going for green buildings? Are we really in favor of having reduced carbon footprint? All the governments all around the world now, I'm saying in particular in the Gulf region, we are trying to protect the consumption of fuel oil. So if we are going to the fuel oil or gas oil, whatever it is, so we need to understand that if we are going to save these resources, the district cooling is a mandatory requirement. Yani it's a mandatory, because the standalone system having a certain kilowatt per ton to be generated, and the other standalone system have a certain kilowatt per ton. It should be a mandatory. That's why the government of Kingdom Saudi Arabia now, and a lot of governments are seeking, and Qatar are seeking how to put this as a mandatory requirement for a certain threshold, like a building of certain tonnage or a group of building at a certain tonnage. It should be a statutory requirement. It should not be, people, we are saying here, a debate. It should be a must to use district cooling, because it is proven. And if we are going to say that we need to implement a green building guidelines, so one of the green building guidelines is the district cooling industry.
Thank you for the intervention. And there is a lot of debate about that to begin with, but you know, it is a very good intervention. However, can we go back to the questions that George raised, please?
Okay, good. No worries. We will answer. The infrastructure is really a challenge for us, and especially for the drainage system and the usage of the treated sewage effluent. In some areas, also there is no reach for the water, the potable water or what desalinated water. So at that stage, we reached to a point that we were operating by tankering until we have managed now to use the ponds water and desalination of water. We are using TSE nowadays, and finally we are trying to operate through the STP and make full recycling and feeding again to the cooling tower. So, but the idea is the cost involved in polishing the water or recycling the water. So, especially with the increase in the tariff structure recently, this is a costly solution, but it's much better than using the normal water or let's say the desalinated water from the government.
You have also hired chillers and generator for a long time.
Yeah, of course. This was a challenge, of course. But the cost, if you are going to talk about the
no cost.
No cost.
You managed to deliver cooling and comfort despite all your problems.
Of course, we managed to deliver even if we don't have the infrastructure ready. We have operated on temporary cooling arrangement for more than 8 months for the Motor City. It's a huge station, and we have managed to deliver for our customer through temporary arrangement. And it was air-cooled chiller, and it was not meant for the Gulf region.
What means not meant for the Gulf region?
Most of the air-cooled chiller that comes to, let's say, trained people and career and experts have a certain, allowable temperature to operate in. The temperature reach in between the chillers sometimes 56 degrees, 60 degrees, if between chillers, and if you don't take the space between the chillers. So by all these challenges, we have managed to operate, and we haven't,
For how long?
We operate for 8 months on temporary arrangement, which was a big challenge, and it's a costly operation.
If district cooling with thermal storage in Motor City allowed the city to have only 2 electric substations. Without district cooling, you needed a third one, and you need more power.
Of course.
That help develop the city?
Of course, it helps a lot, because, and also, if we don't have the district cooling, what will be there was no, at that time, there was no enough power for the whole city to have chillers on the top of each building. So the saving that has been occurred maybe around more than
50%,
more than 180 megawatt. What we are talking about? This is 2 substations.
The standalone people are not hearing. Raise your voice.
Yeah.
How much you say?
No. We are talking about to deliver the
180 megawatt.
180 megawatt.
Whoa!
let me put it in this way. Okay. Now, when we commission the plant, let's assume we need to do the flushing, correct? What are the requirements for flushing from environment? I need to get rid of that water to keep the system clean. From environmental standpoint, how many grams by liter I'm allowed to dump the water in the public sewers?
No, we need to be a little bit specific. You are talking about criteria of the water dumped to the drainage.
Correct.
Okay, about what? Which there are major parameters that
object environment is tomorrow.
TDS. You are talking about TDS?
No. Okay. Now what I'm gonna
tell me.
Listen. In order to meet the requirement, simple, an average. I'm saying meeting, an average. In order to get that requirement, which is almost 2 grams, correct me here, by liter. In order to get it, you need 5 months. With a normal filter, you double the filter, you oversize the system, you go 2.5. This is one of the facts. If you need 5 months only to commission, to flush out your system properly, it's a challenge, correct?
I disagree, really. We have done, we have flushing for a network of 144 kilometers. Okay, in the Jabal Ali for Dubai investment, and we haven't, these parameters that you are talking about is out of range. We haven't spent all what we are talking about now, really. I'm talking practically, but that's the point.
If you dump it at 20, that's fine.
Sorry, you are a consultant?
No,
all right. So good. I want to mention something. One important point. Usually, the consultant, in his assumptions, take a big factor of safety, and this factor of safety, okay, that you take in your design, have really an adverse impact on our studies, because most of the oversize in the plants in UAE is because of the consultant.
I agree. That's we spoke about this morning.
I object.
No.
A good consultant.
Okay. We have a lot of amateurs in the consulting business. That's why we are here. That's fine.
Good,
The question is how many months we need to commission a mid-size cooling plant? That's
Today it's a learning curve. Please allow me. When Tabreed start, they are the pioneer in the business. When they start the first network, is different from when we come and do the second network, then the third network, and the fourth network. So it's a learning curve. Today there are means and ways how to really eliminate this problem, and we have succeeded. If you want to enter into a detailed study, technically we are ready to provide. Look at this. We are ready to provide, and it doesn't really shows the parameter that you are talking about. The parameter you are talking about is theoretical. Yes.
Correct.
Correct. From where theoretical? That's the international norms.
It is still theoretical.
We
are a very practical engineer, and we know really how we are going to do a network, or, small ring, bigger ring, and up to the full network.
I have no questions.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Shake hands now.
How are you?
This particular topic is delivering on promises. I don't know what the promises are from district cooling. So can you explain to me what the promises are?
There are really, let's say, four main pillars of the promises that we put. First of all, we need to have an environmental friendly solution. This is, in my opinion, this is number one. Cost saving. The cost saving occurs really on the grid network, and the end user is not feeling it, and we need to see why. Okay. Number three is to have reduce the noise impact on a human being. Okay. This is very, very, very what we call debatable pillar of what we are delivering on our model. Mm-hmm. And number four is to have a reduction in the full utility and energy consumed for air conditioning.
Don't forget the comfort, the cooling.
The comfort is noise also. Comfort. So I think these are the main four pillars that we depend on our service delivery module.
So that's your mission statement, is it?
It's not my mission statement. It's most of the, let's say, district cooling. My mission statement is much more, I have put higher expectations.
Could you share it with us?
You can look into the website. Anyway, but these are the main thing, really. The four main important matter that we put in our mind before we design a district cooling plant. I'm just talking about all the key players who are delivering district cooling in UAE.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you've got very good engineers working for you that can do the plant, so that's not into discussion really. But delivering on the promises you mentioned about cost, which obviously the end user, as long as they're reasonably comfortable in their living room, the conditions are okay, temperatures are okay, the next thing they care about is money, that's all. With electricity, for lights, they get one bill, consumption. With district cooling, they will get a minimum of 2 bills. They'll get a capacity or demand charge.
Object, cost is tomorrow.
Plus, it's a part of the delivery, it's part of the cost.
No, we will not talk about cost. We will talk about the model of invoicing.
Okay, okay, well, we can come up with the financial pieces in the section, the next one actually, so we will come across that next.
Okay,
but in terms of the cost, which you mentioned as one of your 4 pillars, that's not happening, is it?
It is. This is a very important point. I want to just please allow us to illustrate on this point. The cost saving is tangible for the grid network, okay? But the only problem that we face is the real estate industry. the real estate industry was booming for the past, let's say, 7 years in UAE. So all the greedy concept, with all my respect to the real estate developer, have went through all the way the 7 years. So one of the cost, which we don't want to discuss about it, George, is called the capacity or declared load charge. This shall form part of the selling price of the unit. All right? And then you should be able to compare consumption charge to DIWA bill. Because I'll tell you something, studies for a villa, 4,000 square foot, you know how much will be the declared load for the life cycle of it? Is 140,000 dirham or 136,000. It's when he bought this villa for 4 million. Okay, sorry, we are talking about money now. Okay, it is a negligible amount. All right. Yep. So he can capitalize from day one on that capacity charge. But we were forced, all of us, including all the district cooling player, to take that cost as part of our recovery plan. So the end user has been really feeling that, oh, I'm on monthly basis paying more. But how much really you have saved, okay, with the cost of the chiller on the top of the building, with the cost of the maintenance of the chillers, with the capital refurbishment of your chiller, all these shall be, we have done these studies and we are open to share it with anybody, and we were discussing this before, if there will be a regulatory authority, okay, like RERA, like anything called District Cooling Regulatory Authority, they should take under consideration all these things.
Yeah, but that body doesn't exist, unfortunately.
Okay, so that's why, but the greedy concept of the real estate developers, they have sell you something by this amount of money. They didn't tell you, they tell you all the SPAs, what it mentions, or the sales purchase agreement, all of you are owners. It says you are obliged to go and sign an agreement with the exclusive service provider. It doesn't say for you, you are not equipped with an asset to generate air conditioning. All right? It doesn't say this. All right? So let's go and dig in the, the greedy concept of this real estate. And some of the owners, really not to come hard on the real estate, because I used to work for real estate, is you as an owner, you have bought some people, bought the apartment by a certain number. They have done appreciation on it of 30 or 40 or 45% in 3 years, and some of them they sell it and get the money back in their pockets. Okay? So this is the idea, is there is no transparency in saying we have built a declared load for you, not on the top of the building, it's in a certain area which is far away. So this is the idea. So that's why we return back to the point, the cost is intangible. The cost saving, sorry, is intangible. So there is somebody who have really do a big savings and it's not been announced. So the idea comes now that we as a district cooling service provider want to justify this to the end user, which is not the real case. The real case, somebody have come and makes big money, big chunk of money, took the money in his bank, and thank you very much, guys.
The problem is, I mean, if the market's got a demand, it wants an LED TV, 3D versions coming out now, people will buy them because they want them. At the moment, district cooling is forced upon them, they've got no choice, yeah? And district cooling was riding on this wave of speculation with all the greedy developers. They were on the back of it. So they followed the same path, same as anyone else. And I can understand why. But we're in a position now where district cooling has got a bad reputation and you need to recover from it. So do you have plans to redo your financial business model?
No,
or are we going to make the same mistake again?
Again, is coming back to financing and cost.
Okay.
We have to stick to delivery of cooling requirement.
Okay.
My question to you: if we had standalone system in these villas, how could you manage? How many generators you have to spread around during that phase? If the electric substation was not complete,
at that stage, you need to put for each villa separate generator, and it will be, it will be unfeasible at all. So by this, we will lose at that time 1,500 customer to move to their apartment and villas if we don't have. You know what save us?
So the advantage of centralization is that you are able to find central solution
What
for
saves
many.
us is we have a common network.
Yeah.
That's, again, this is the terminology. Is a common network, it saves us. Because by delivering chilled water on the pipeline, we managed to get AC everywhere. How is we are delivering now? Is it by a permanent station or temporary? Is another issue. But we have managed.
Technically,
We have four other witnesses here, my friend.
Capisce. Hold on a second. I think we have a problem now. What you said about the tarification, whatever, it shows that the district cooling industry is going into deep, deep problem. It means from all aspects, from delivery side, from financial side, from the growth side, and etc. And that's why we said, if you have a good concept, but applied by lousy people or applied inaccurately, you will have a wrong results. And I think the district cooling industry is going through a crisis somehow.
I disagree. We need to be specific, really.
I said be specifically.
No, you are saying all the layers. We need to please.
Okay, I'm going to talk
macro analysis. You know, let's go to the details.
One layer. People, there is a fear factor in the industry called district cooling. There is a fear factor in the industry. Call it district cooling. Unless this, people here, the crowd can say yes or no. There is a fear factor. There is a fear factor or not?
By that, I will call our lady who is handling the customer side and financial side. Adib, could you exchange
Thank you.
the same company?
Thank you.
Thank you.
But first, George, can we just, does anybody in the jury want to check something or ask something? Yeah. Sorry, just 1 second.
Because we have an opportunity where 4,000 customers are being served in the Dubai Investment Park. And
he wants to answer something.
Very quickly, evaluate your risks on the common network. In case, I'm sure you have evaluated any risks on all common networks or any other systems. You have risks that you may not be able to deliver the promises. So have you evaluated any of this, and can you share some with us?
Of course, before we build any plant, let's say, or any community we need to deliver, we draw a very reliable, strong assessment, mainly from the redundancy point of view, and the redundancy point of view of chilled water. And district cooling is more than, much better than standalone, by the way, because for a reason Mr. George will illustrate on this point, is that there is a momentum in water. You know, the water already gains some certain amount of, of cooling. In order to exert that, as for heat transfer, especially with underground water, it needs pipes. It needs time. So the time elapsed especially it depends on the network size and the network dimension. If the network size is big, wherever you go bigger and it's an economy of scale, you will be able to deliver chilled water with a shutdown plant more than a smaller network. So while if you have a small chiller on the top of the building and it gets stopped due to any failure, the impact on the human being inside, and this is done, is immediate. While with the district cooling, it needs time, even if it's in peak summer. I have a shutdown for 6 hours for a network of 60 kilometers, and I manage within 6 hours to keep it reach the temperature to acceptable limit, 24 degrees, by circulating the water through the secondary network. Okay, so we have ways and means to study this risk involved, and the risk involved is less than the standalone unit, really.
Thank you very much. Please.
Quickly, Sanella, the question is in regard. Sanella Habab is the director of service support in Emikul, and she handled really around 5,000 customers.
More than 5,000.
More than 5,000. We noticed in the initial stages of this recooling there was a big shock in the pricing of district cooling. But when I visited several villas in West Bay, in Motor City Green Community, I found a general satisfaction with district cooling and a slight complaint about the price. It seems the first shocks of the district cooling pricing has been absorbed, and more people are accustomed to it and are used to it. What is your general opinion about your customer? How satisfied are they?
Considering that we have more than 5,000 customers, we have a very small percentage of complaints. We have maybe 100 customers that are complaining out of 5,000, more than 5,000 customers. And regarding the price, price is generally accepted. The billing, what we were talking about, is a fixed charge, and the consumption is a problem. Because it's a general idea that people want to pay for what they consume. And then they complain, why do I have to pay the fixed charge if I did not even switch on the AC? And
I will not focus on cost, but overall, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being excellent, how do you say generally your 5,000 customers are satisfied with your service? 6, 7, 8 overall?
Satisfied with our service, I mean, related to the price?
Overall, everything. Cooling, supply, reliability, pricing, everything.
I would say 7 or 8.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. When you said satisfied, I could be satisfied by living in a villa if my company is paying for the utilities. If I'm not paying from my pocket, I will be always happy and feel like this is the optimal solution, because I'm getting district cooling free, there is no noise, and I'm happy. But if we take an average, how much, without going into the cost, it means coming back to the fear factor. If the people, they have to pay from their pocket, and there is other way, because now you might have the feeling that, okay, this is the way I have to live with it.
Which area complain more, the oldest or the newer? The first Green Community West, or the Motor City?
It's equal. I cannot say that there is more or less.
Because the first villas were not insulated. And probably the bills are higher.
Yeah, could be. But they are already there for some time and they are used to it, so they don't come. It's not new for them.
Okay,
so
thank
maybe
you.
that could be the reason that they don't complain.
Okay.
So, excuse me, of the 5,000 customers, are these on communities where district cooling is mandated? Do they have an option of going to a different type of cooling, or
They don't have option.
So there's no need to complain because they can't go anywhere else?
They cannot have any other way of
they can
cooling.
complain, but they can't change anything, basically.
They can complain and we resolve the complaint, and they are fine with it.
But I could complain, but if I know that I can't resolve, you can't lower my bills because it's mandated upon me, so I've got no option to go to you. I can't go and put my own unit in, so I'm stuck.
Yeah, but when we explain to them, then they are fine. They are convinced.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sorry, there is convinced, there is a fairness in how to build it, but we are not sure that overall, if they have to rent it again, they will come to you. That's a question.
Look, I object to this leading there, because we are trying to get a feeling of the customers, and I have visited several samples, and I've seen that the resistance is dwindling, knowing that district cooling in Dubai is sold today at 56 fills per ton hour compared to 20 to 25 fills in Abu Dhabi. So almost 3 times the price. And we find today more resistance and more outcry in Abu Dhabi because it's new. So I'm just highlighting that the time factor in absorbing the district cooling has helped, and what we have the perception of a major outcry is not, I'm not saying there isn't complaint, but it is less. And the fact that the utility is selling them power at 38 fils and sells in Dubai, not in and sells the decorative slit at 23 fils per kilowatt, that slab rate, which I call it slab in the face, is totally unfair to district cooling and artificially elevating the price of district cooling against other systems. And this is where people need to address, because Cool, correct me, Adib, you are struggling to repay the banks. You are not making. We are done with Senel.
District cooling companies, provider, they are going through a difficult situation.
Correct.
Why is that? Yes.
Because government has created that situation. The master planning has created that situation. And if they are not getting preferential rate, if they are not getting support enough, they are left alone. And it's like renewable energy. They will never flourish.
Thank you very much. I think we are a bit getting off the topic now. Thanks very much. It has been enlightening. George, do you have more
witnesses? Yeah.
Yes?
We have 4 more witnesses. We can do it quickly. Mr. Abdullah Zini, please. Mr. Abdullah Zini is managing partner of Rio. He's into contracting business, and he has developed several district cooling plants. The question to you, Mr. Abdullah, in contracting, how did you manage to deliver on promise and finish on time in on the Crescent in Palm Jumeirah area?
In district cooling plant, since I'm coming from contracting, usually we have a schedule as per contract. So what happened usually in district cooling, this I would like to elaborate. With master plan, always you have a building, a structure, infrastructure, and district cooling. Most of the time, district cooling really being done. For example, unfortunately, there is 50% of them done ahead, where we have district cooling being done, and there is no consumptions. 2 big example has been done. Now, unfortunately, Cool, one of them where they have load before that. We have suffered one time that we need temporary. So most of the time, district cooling, you have a plan. You have a certain time where you have to deliver your plant. And most of the time, really, it's been ahead of time known that, let us say, from 12 to 14 months ahead that you have to deliver certain cooling on that time. So now the promises from district cooling contractors has been met, because well known now ahead that the chiller delivery is being there. Most of the material is being known for that reason. So district cooling, really, if we talk now, I haven't seen any building where you are doing stand-alone, you have the chiller being done before the building. You cannot do it. Right? So from the promises, really. Now, if we talk about the time, quality now, most of the time with district cooling, you are talking about engineering, stand-alone being done by if I'm talking about certain building, you are talking about the quality expected to be in district cooling more. End user talk about commissioning. I do agree 100% when you have also small building, or let us say even standalone building, the commissioning is being taken just only by normal contractors. In district cooling, you expect to have a commissioning team, company, flushing, chemicals, all of them is being done by specialists. So promise. Really, if you are talking about quality, if you are talking about time, if you are talking about overall satisfaction, expect it to be better.
Thank you. Leave it to stand-alone advocate. Any questions?
No question. I think.
District cooling are winning, or what is it? You're running out of questions already? No. I thought you wanted this to be more heated debate.
That's fine. We are not, but coming back to Mr. Abdullah.
Yeah.
What's the key element here in meeting the delivery is when you have a plan for district cooling capacity. And we saw that number of projects on the West Bay in Qatar, for example. We have over there district cooling, well designed, well approached, well integrated in the site, but sitting.
Thank you, Salah.
Yeah, I want.
Okay.
But sitting there is no load.
Okay.
If there is no load, it means I'm penalizing.
Right.
It means, you understand, I have maybe the efficiency. But
I object on the West Bay because the capacity built is 67 ton. They already sold 78,000 and they have 20,000 waiting list. They are afraid to sell them. So the capacity there is oversold.
But somehow in the mechanism, the capacity is there or not, somehow we are holding on it a little bit from other reasons. I'm not sure what are the reasons. But the key, if you have the load is existing and you retrofit the Saudi Arabia project we spoke this morning, if I have a load, I do retrofit. I can meet, that will be a win-win situation. But if I design, like in the Reem Island, and maybe the developer are not taking, I might have a problem here in the efficiency, correct?
I do agree with you, this one, but now we are not defeating the system. We are defeating again the developer, designers, who has been designed this one, and there is no load being calculated. Now we know most of the district cooling can ahead of this. Even now, if you go to Al-Raha, you have two plant room has been built. There is nothing around them except the desert, unless they are going to cool the soil. I don't know. So this we cannot here put the blame on the district cooling system, on the designer, on the developer. Why has been done ahead? But most of the time, really, I felt it's been ahead due to so many reasons, which is being expect everybody that developing and the structure, infrastructure will go ahead. But unfortunately, some of the project has not been. So it's not the system of standalone, not the system of district cooling. This is something to do with the development and the crisis happened.
We have 3 more.
Okay. Yes, Paul.
Just a quick one then. You're saying that district cooling plants are actually built sometimes in advance of the developments. So
right.
That's a risk that,
correct.
That they have to take. But on the developer side, I mean, if the building is built, then they want the air conditioning. So standalone system is more tailor-made to suit the growth of the development, because
right.
buildings built, you air condition it. It's not that you have to build a 50,000-ton plant up the road. Yeah, so it's more flexible.
I do agree with you. The only thing now, again, when we call district cooling, we expect that there is master plan. On standalone, usually you are going to the individual owners. On district cooling, when you have master plan, you have something to talk about overall really planning. I don't expect what happened now this one. I made one time lecture about the lessons we have learned, and most of them, it was the first one to say, please do the load you need only. And go in stages, but don't do it from the first time. Most of the plant room, 90,000, 70,000, never been again, except one exception is airport. Dubai airport is being correct load at correct time.
We can blame one word. We are blaming the industry, we are blaming designers somehow. And planning.
Developer, designer, yes, can be blamed.
Like, there are several plant rooms that are overloaded. Like Emikul has plant 1, it's suffering shortage, at least for once.
Again, matter of the estimation. Again, matter of the proper design. What happened now? Planning. If you plan something short or more, still it's misplanning.
No, the question is: are all based on your experience? Are we within the range that we talked this morning between 0.95 to 1?
Yeah.
On this, or are we seeing something higher or lower? What you
I'll
think?
tell you, up to now, there is misunderstanding on here. Everybody looking at the plant room. Actually, when we talk about district cooling, we have to look at the plant room as well as for the secondary. Secondary, in some cases, is being exaggerated because you have very, very, very lengthy reticulation, which is network. So 0.95, if you take it overall with the secondary, is not. Is not.
So the question here, Mr. the jury member of the jury here, on overall, at the end user, on the apartment, of the building, when it delivers.
You can't generate this. Let us talk about now when you have properly planned. If you put the plant centralized among this one without big network, there it will be very efficient. I'm talking always where, again, the planning, the design, designer being blamed, yes, for sometimes if you have the plant room network is so long, yes, you are paying that penalties. Again, the planning, if you have the central plant being positioned in proper place with short network and you have diversity, you can use it. Again, if you have redundancy, again, I will say if you have some loops where you can use it, it will be
Salah, Tabreed, when they started, they kept averaging at 1.05 for several years until they fine-tuned and tweaked the low delta T and improved efficiency. The last 2 years, they are averaging at 0.93 kilowatt per ton. And this is across 45 plants and around 700,000 ton of installed capacity. So really, I mean, district cooling can deliver, and I disagree with the guys that in time it deteriorate. And in fact, it's in time, if you do it well, you can improve in efficiency.
Exactly. But still we are talking about plant room. We know plant room can be increased by two things. Plant room itself, if you have the chiller efficiency is being improved, pumps is being improved, and cooling towers. Other one, now which is important, and this is the, I think, all the consultants, all the designers, developer, to make sure that the network, what you saved on the plant room, you don't pay the penalty on that network. This is what we have to optimize. All of us, we talk always about plant room, where it's really being improved by doing better efficiency.
Abdullah, the average difference between what is sold at the ETS and what is produced in the plant room in Tabreed is less than 4 to 5%.
No, I'm not talking about, again, ETS. You are talking sometimes is going to be part of this. I'm talking, again, sometimes the ETS too far and is being positioned too far from this one. Here we are talking where you can optimize it.
Okay.
Really. Any more?
Thank you.
Okay.
We will call Muhammad Abu Sa'. Muhammad is a Regional Manager of Business Development at ADC Energy Systems. Again, Muhammad, you represent a contractor, and from contracting perspective, like you have
we
built...
trust you're going to say the truth. You don't need to swear. We trust that.
You have built the plant room at the Reem Island also. How did you manage to deliver now on time and on schedule, and like usual ahead of most of the customers on Reem Island? Could you explain your experience as well?
Yes, well, luckily, as Mr. Abdullah mentioned, that unlike traditional or unlike roof mounted units, we have the luxury of building the plant either parallel to building the development or even before that. There is a positive and negative effect, obviously, on that side. But I guess proper planning, control, and coordination with the owner of the plant. We are the contractor, we're not the owner. The owner of the plant is PAL Technology, and they were continuously feeding us with information on the capacities that needs to be built, full coordination with the contractor, transparency, which you don't see a lot between district cooling providers and contractors. Usually, district cooling providers will say, we want X amount of tonnages, and then every time the developer surprises the district cooling company with changes, they come back to the contractor and it becomes a big argument about variation orders. However, if there is transparency and an agreement beforehand that we will manage changes and alterations together, then everything goes smooth and we finish on time and we give them the capacity that they require, if that answers your question. And we're a good company. And then
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mohammed, there's no need for you to build your plants in advance of the load. So is there a conscious reason why you did that? Or?
Not really, no. As a contractor, we were asked to build it. But would we build it without crystallizing load before that? Our advice today, in today's market, where people are more cautious about every penny that they spend, is that let's be more aggressive on our approach. If you believe that in 9 months you'll get 10,000 tons, let's only build 5. So, and when we see these 10 coming up, then you know what? We can make things happen for you.
So is there merit in using temporary plants in place of the main plant until the load is consolidated and confirmed?
There are some advantages of using temporary plants. There are some models that justify using temporary plants. However, it purely depends on your financial structure, not technical whatsoever. It all depends on where your money is from, how much interest you're paying on it, and how you will recover it. That's it. But temporary has proven that in many cases it was the right choice because of the high risk and uncertainty.
But the plant that you've built on Reem Island, I think...
There was no temporary, no.
No, but the plant is sized on 90,000
Yes.
and there's only 45,000 in there at the moment?
True, yes. And not all are running also.
Sorry? Yeah.
And not all are running.
You've
So
got
it
that
was
redundant plant, there's no return on that investment.
True.
It would have been better to keep the money in the bank.
true.
Yeah.
That's I guess that was the story of all district cooling providers in the past 3-4 years. Yeah.
It's been a hard lesson learned. Yeah.
It is. It was. And that actually, this specific example is a good example. There are examples where there is less than 10% running on whole mode, and that's worse.
So it's all down to the planning, basically.
Planning, and being aggressive. Take decisions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next witness is Hisham Hajjaj from Stanley Consultants. So I'm going to enjoy this. So when did you come to town? So Hisham, what do you say you are? Oh yeah, project principal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me, we hear a lot about water, how much is available. So tell me things that you've looked at to try to make water more available, less usage, things of that nature.
Since you are enjoying so much, I will take the Fifth Amendment.
Okay. Oh, we're talking about, just real quick, I'm sorry. Okay. So let's, all right, let's do this.
Yes.
We'll talk about
the water.
How do you, as a consultant, try to bring innovation in to help district cooling providers meet expectations? Okay.
I think I mentioned this story before. We went to Riyadh, taking, for example, the capital of Saudi Arabia, and they were debating. They have a really beautiful development. It's the crown jewel of Riyadh, King Abdullah Financial District. It's about 15 billion US dollar. It's huge. And it took them 2 years to decide between, you know, if they want to go standalone or district cooling. And it was from the top, from the financial minister level, was the highest. It's like kind of the owner, to, you know, small engineer. What we found out, you know, that during that, when we start pushing towards district cooling, and they bought it, we won. Now this project is now they're building 2 big plants, 50,000 ton each, and we know the Riyadh situation, for example, like, you know, even the well water is like about 70 degrees C it comes, and it's about 3,000, sometimes 5,000 TDS. It's not, you know, you need to treat it. You need, like, to be able to use that kind of water is like you need 2 cooling systems. First cooling tower set and then another cooling tower set to be able to use it, plus the filtration and chemical system added to that. Anyway, what we found out, they created just a company called National Water Company, and they were dumping in the desert every day 1 million cubic meter. Every day, 1 million cubic meter. What's that? TSC, yeah. I just, thank you. I'm thinking ahead. After treatment, after treated water, treated sewage effluent, 1 million cubic meter. And then we came with that. We started, you know, the client meeting with the National Water Company, and anyway, they finally close up the deal now, and the National Water Company now they gonna start building a network in Riyadh for all these coming projects, plus irrigation. Because, you know, Riyadh is a huge city. I think they're not going to have any problem with the TSC water. And that's, I think, I brought this example, Mike, where really they have scarcity of water in Riyadh. You know, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's not by even, you know, the cost there, like we say, the water, desalination water is byproduct, but it costs them to transport the water from the east coast or from the west coast. It will end up in Riyadh maybe six
so how about
Riyal per cubic meter.
In order to, our understanding is that in order to build the King Abdullah Financial District, a study was made. Do you go standalone versus district cooling?
Yes.
And findings on that were?
They went with district cooling.
And why? Because
it's more, and also our colleague George mentioned this morning, and he still remember, till today, if they don't have district cooling, they won't have enough power for that project. Till today. I mean, I think by June, July, they're going to have about 10,000 ton, refrigerant ton. If they have the 10,000 load as a standalone, they won't have enough power.
Okay.
They won't have power
talking about
to run the project.
Let's talk about resources, power, water, all the different resources.
Sure.
We hear a lot of times plants don't get started up because we can't get resources, right?
Yeah.
But why is that? What's standing in the way of starting up a district cooling plant? You know, we've got plants that have set for up to a year, maybe 2 years in some cases. Why is that?
I think I will repeat Mr. Muhammad Abu Sa''s favorite word, planning, planning, planning. There was no such planning. And I think they were ahead. The government, they didn't work together. Everybody was at his own as a developer. You know, I mean, even till today, we just heard early this morning about the Reem Island. Still, they don't have power. And even, I think you remember yourself, Mike, George, everybody in here, that city, Reem Island, was supposed to accommodate for like 400,000 people. 400,000 people, and you know, all these buildings, facilities, hospitals, schools.
So the bottom line.
And the bottom line.
It's hard to meet expectations if the government doesn't.
If the government doesn't.
The authorities themselves.
The authorities, yes, that's the problem. The authorities we have, I think.
So.
And by really, that's by having district cooling, you're helping the authority. And as I said, like, you know, that example, you know, there is a bundle of water somewhere you could utilize.
I have no other questions.
I guess, Hisham, I have 5 minutes for you. So, 2 minutes, couple questions.
Sure.
Do you think the electrical rates are in favor of district cooling?
To answer this question, there is two parts. Part one, no.
Okay.
It's not. Part two, it doesn't matter what's the rate, because the rate, if it is for standalone or for district cooling, at the end, then we need to use it. It doesn't matter. Because you're going to pay the rate for standalone, and you're going to pay the rate for...
you can pay 24 if you have or 24 fields if you have, for example, in Dubai, and you can have 33. That's fine. It means, in one word, the electric rates and regulation is not in favor of district cooling.
Not at all.
It should be going backwards. It means the bigger you pay less, because
sure, like everybody else.
Okay. Do you think? In one word, do you think the water scarcity or the water has an energy tag on it, in this country?
Say that again about
the water has an energy tag. It means the water, it's desalinated water. There is always an energy factor in providing water.
But that energy factor to getting to the end user that water by
of course, it's even the drinking
pumping
water,
station you're talking and
desalination plant, etc. Because it's energy. Okay,
it is.
That's number two. Number three. Do you think it's very important? Do you think the district cooling industry needs another way or innovative approach in producing cooling or not?
It's always there is room for improvement. Yes, sir. Always. There is. And we should be looking into something like that.
I said, whatever we do today, if we're going to go for plants that are electrical driven or steam driven, we still have that 60% of between 50 to 60% that will be dedicated to the AC.
Right.
So unless we find another way to produce cooling, the trend is going to be 60% for AC and the rest for the services.
Other services. Correct. Correct.
That's fine. That's all what I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. You're welcome. Can I leave your honor?
Thank you very much, Yuri. Thank you very much. It has been a pleasure. Thanks.
We have one more. Again, 5 minutes?
Well, you have 2 minutes. I don't know if you can use your 2 minutes.
We can.
Okay.
We'd like to call Ken Curry, Technical Director of Mott McDonald. Yeah, so you talk really fast.
And no mention of mustard.
I won't mention mustard.
Well, we'll just mention this place out by the airport.
That's right.
I guess quickly, tell us a little bit about some innovative things we're doing to meet expectations and to, I guess, raise the bar at Masdar from a cooling standpoint.
Okay, I wouldn't say as much about Masdar, but I'll just say...
that place out by the airport.
Yeah. We've been listening to district cooling companies, been listening to the end users, and we're trying to come up with some sort of midway solution which would help the growth and development of district cooling, give the benefit to the end users of district cooling, and hopefully lower the cost to them. And as a lot of you know, I've been talking about distributed cooling for some time, which is putting small plants in, which require only a small board network. So the first cost is much lower. Land cost is slightly higher, but this is expandable to suit the demand of the project. Okay, so that means that you don't have to put a big plant in with very big pipework in, or have a huge electrical hookup in the beginning before you get your first end users online. And a certain little development around the corner seems to be interested in going this way too, even if we do end up using another district cooling provider. So to us, the middle way, almost between a standalone plant and a large central plant, would be distributed cooling. And I know I'm sounding very boring, but the efficiencies there's parity in efficiency. In the efficiencies, there is incentive for the business model. I mean, Adib, if you could have built this from the beginning in the smaller plants, it would have been the interest rate would have been less. Okay, so there is a plus side to that. So this is part of the innovative stuff we're doing. We're also, not us, but we sort of inherited this on a certain little place in the desert there, that raising the chilled water temperatures by using other methods of dehumidification or improved dehumidification methods meant that you can get away with a much higher chilled water temperature. Therefore, more bang for your buck out of your chiller plant. That's basically it. 2 minutes. Okay. That it? Jeez. Okay. That was sweet. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we're going to start now with the next topic. Does anybody wants like 5 minutes break, or you're happy just to move on?
Like 5 minutes break.
Just to stretch your legs or something? Yeah? Okay. So, like, we'll meet here in 5 minutes, please. Thank you, everybody, for coming back. Shall we please start? Thank you. We will be discussing now the financing of cooling projects. That's the topic on the agenda now. Who would wish to start? District cooling or standalone? They would start with their.
We'd like to invite the district cooling to start first.
Okay.
So we can have a good laugh.
Smart idea anyway. We have an enthusiastic witness now. Our colleague Muhammad Masoud has a lot of ideas on financing district cooling. Is he in? Masoud Reza, sorry. Yeah, come. We're gonna have you again because you are passionate about it. We want passionate people.
District cooling passion.
The impact of financial crisis on district cooling was there like it has been on real estate developers. Money has dried up, shortage of supply, people are not building up fast enough to start the repayment to bank. How did you come up with a solution in the case of PAL technology to manage this?
For us, it's this question, if you want me to answer, I'll answer in 2 words. We got the financing done before the onset of the crisis, so there was no problem for our financing. But now, I'd like to just say a few words on all these options that you have given to us. And I'll just go very briefly on all of them. Just 2 minutes. First thing is the impact of financial crisis on availability of finance. It's difficult for everyone, including the standalone buildings. So if you are building a common building with a standalone system, for you also the financing is as difficult as it is for district cooling. But the difference is, standalone system goes with a building, and the building can be given as a collateral to project finance it. You understand what I'm saying? So you have this advantage. But district cooling, because it's a different entity, a utility provider, without any utility recognition as such from government or other utilities companies, then you end up paying very high interest rates, murabahas, and the loan terms are very difficult to manage for district cooling. So this is the difference between the standalone and the district cooling in terms of financing. But financing for both the people are difficult as of now. Other issue is, for example, now how do we improve the situation of the district cooling in this condition? What we are trying to do is to sell the district cooling piping network to the developers and make them partner into the district cooling services itself. This is one option. As you mentioned in your second point is, what are the options available for finance, like sukuk, bonds, or private equity? I can add to you that I can tell you that sukuk and bonds, these are very difficult in the sense that when the payment becomes due, you have to pay the full amount at one time. This is not an easy thing to do for district cooling because they don't have too many assets to bank on. Yes. Yeah, sukuk. You are mentioning sukuk or?
George, who is the lawyer here? Thank you.
Okay, but what about private equity? Yes, private equity, the big investors are out of the market because they don't get the returns that they want from the district cooling business, or that the return that they were promised by the district cooling companies long time ago. So I think it will be in the best interest of the district cooling now to come up with a new, why this option is coming in the forefront is, now there are strata laws. What they say is the common areas have to be maintained by everyone. Each owner has a responsibility for maintenance of common areas. Can we not include district cooling capital costs into the common area maintenance and let them pay for it? Let them be the partner, equity partner, and keep paying for it. This is one option. First one, I have already said that sell the piping to the developers or to the government, whoever has the right of way there, and then use it and pay users charges for the district cooling pipe network. Another option. The payment of the interest and other murabaha is very difficult now, definitely. And in most of the cases, we are finding it difficult because the load that is being consumed now is 10,000, 15,000 ton, and we have to pay for a 45,000 ton plant financing. It's very difficult. So how do we do it? Either you put more equity, not easy to get. The promoter will not give you any more money. That's for sure. So how do we make those ends meet? Is we get more money by selling the assets or making the developers as our partners. Now, please questions. Any questions?
It has been done in TDIC, where TDIC owns the network, and we released a tender on their behalf on the RFP for the plant room alone. And it worked. Dalkia now will be developing the plant room and paying part of the service charges to TDIC, around 200 dirham per ton for the piping network.
Correct.
And it has worked that way. With that, Mike, do you have any?
For government
we give it to the
you want any question?
standalone.
Could you maybe just explain the bit you said about TDIC? I didn't quite catch it.
Yeah.
TDIC was designed by somebody else, and it was around 90,000 ton. We redesigned it, we brought it down to 50,000 ton, and we gave them the idea that it is impossible today to finance infrastructure because banks want repayment. I mean, you bury a pipe in the ground, nobody will finance it. So TDIC agreed to finance it as part of their total infrastructure, and the piping cost around 110 million dirham. And we released the tender, we fixed the selling price at 900 dirham per ton. And we asked the bidder, what is the maximum that you can pay for the piping by building the plant? And we gave them an offtake of around 50% of the load. And three of the bidder, we gave them a budget that we expect to get 180 dirham for the piping. The three bidder gave exactly 200 because it seems the financial model is the same for all of them. So we managed to get them 200 dirham paid, and 700 dirham will be left to the BOO developer to pay for his plant room and the ATS.
This will only meet partial costs, yeah, because the network cost is 1,500 dirhams a ton approximately.
In this case, they had long distribution network, and because we reduced also the load, the price per ton went up. So it really was around 2,000 dirham in the case of 2,000, 2,200 dirham.
So the 200 dirhams that you mentioned, how does that go towards the repayment? That's only 10% of the cost.
We said we fixed the selling price.
Okay.
We didn't care about the cost of the piping. We said whatever we can recover for you, we will. So we work at, they want to be competitive, that this is the highest selling price they can sell. We want to see how much was the best price we can recover.
But the normal connection charge for district cooling is 750, 800 dirhams a ton approximately, sort of market cost, yeah? Which includes a portion of the network costs.
Not really. It barely covers the ATS.
Well, it probably may just cover the ETS. So again, I mean, there's no transparency on what the connection charge is. Does it go towards the network? Does it go towards?
There is no connection charges. The 200 dirham is per ton is annually.
Annually.
Annual repayment.
Okay, but so that's like an addition to the capacity charge.
No, the capacity charge was fixed at 900.
So we know
the bidder are getting 200 paid to TDIC, and they keep 700 for themselves, which covers the plant room and the ATS. So the end user will only see 900.
Okay, right. But again, so really it's the end user is suffering because of it. The capacity charge is actually increasing. There's no transparency on the capacity charges.
The capacity charge was fixed.
Yeah, no, but we don't know what the capacity charge is. I mean, what does it go towards? Is it cost of capital recovery on the network, on the plant?
On the plant room network, and barely, I mean, that capacity charge would not get them their capital by 10 to 12 years time, the payback, which is fair to the end user, more fair to the end user than the developer.
if I buy a house in my home country, I may get a 20-year mortgage. I'll pay it back over 20 years. The trouble is over here is that a lot of the population is very transient. You may be here to get your...
It's a wrong example, Paul. Private equity, even power, expect an IRR of 12%. District cooling target 15, but really achieve 8 or 9 in reality. Equity, IRR equity. Project is less, and in fact, most district cooling are not making that, and they are suffering horribly.
Well, they're suffering horribly because they had rubbish planning in the past, so we need to know what they're going to do to try and address this. Are we going to go for distributed cooling, as mentioned by Ken Curry earlier? But this all helps to keep the cost down. So we need to get some idea of, is the market going to go this way? Are you going to downsize, not go for 45,000 or 90,000 ton plants again, which is a big risk. You need to manage the risk. Which way do you intend to go?
First thing for sure, as I mentioned, the first lesson learned is the supply must follow demand. Even if there is a gap between the supply and the demand, that can be met by temporary cooling. If the demand is too much for transient period of, say, for example, 6 months, you can meet it by temporary cooling. That's not a big deal. But if you invest instead of 20,000 ton plant in a 45,000 ton plant, this is a capital intensive market, capital intensive business, and all that extra capital cost has to be borne by the end user. This is the problem.
Were Suruh willing to buy the network back from you? Are they buying the network from you, the chilled water network?
Not Suruh portion, Tamu portion. So it's Tamu and the other one, the Ream developer.
They are buying the network from you.
Okay. Actually, Ream, they have already bought the network from us.
And that allow you to reduce fee?
Keep the cash flow going now. The biggest problem is the cash flow.
Yeah, but if they bought the network, would you reduce your capacity charge?
No, we cannot.
No.
No.
We cannot.
So it still get ripped off, basically.
We cannot. This is to survive. We are telling you something different.
It's not, you're surviving because of your own ill planning. That's what it's all about.
No, I disagree. I strongly disagree because it's not our ill planning. It's an ill planning of a booming market which did not see how much demand is there.
Ill planning building a 90,000 ton plant.
Yes.
You don't need
no,
it.
if we had followed the developers' projections, now we should have been building another 22,000 tons.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, but
even now we are not consuming 45,000 tons. We should have been building another 20,000 tons.
It's because all the stakeholders aren't bought into the whole thing. The planning. You need to police the developers. The other thing is, there's actually, as far as your customers are concerned, you've got people that have purchased a property.
Correct.
And so therefore, really, they're going to be the air conditioning plant, the portion of the ETS is their cost. We've also got a lot of renters, and so the renters will just come in and they just want to pay a consumption charge as well. But often they'll be hit with a capacity charge. The whole model, I think, needs to be looked at the moment.
Exactly, and as Zina has already mentioned, Mr. Abdullah, that the fact is that there are so many people making money from district cooling business except for the district cooling itself.
Really? Who's that?
People who saved money by installing a central plant and giving this responsibility to a third party, and they did not pay back anything.
Maybe
I think the point is still not clear.
The ultimate winner is
the ultimate winner, the authorities, the government. They saved so much of money in installing infrastructure, TSE, all these things.
But you need to engage those people in the process. They are stakeholders.
Definitely.
And at the moment, it doesn't. The money doesn't filter down to the end users. That's the problem.
No, definitely. As I mentioned in the morning session, also, the basic problem: end user doesn't get the benefit that he's being promised, which is not good.
Elsewhere in the world, a lot of district systems are subsidised by the local councils or governments. Here, it's not. They're run as businesses. So.
Paul, I object. You are abusing the witness and making him carry the
words into my mouth.
the ill planning of the government and the lack of regulation and the lack of support. You are not supposed to solve this alone.
Yes. Support is a must.
Have you spoke to anyone in the government? Have you tried to speak
Can we go back, because I'm not sure that we are here to solve the problem. We just want to get their perspective on one aspect, and we are, you know, I'm sure you have your witnesses, and there's still plenty.
The question is there alternative financial models in place?
Your Honor, if you allow me, maybe I'll just make one comment. With Masdar, we tried once also to get the carbon credits for the district cooling, which is maybe one of the first things to do, and Masdar is an expert in this kind of things. Maybe we can proceed. That's the first step to be done. Get the carbon credit for the things that we save to the authorities. Get the money for it. Get a credit for it.
But where will those credits go?
In funding the inefficient plants, if you want me to say that. No, in funding the projects, of course, district cooling projects.
Okay, thank you.
We now call Mr. Bilal Abi Haidar.
Sorry, I have a question. I'm sorry. You talked about the supply following demand.
Yes.
In terms of phasing
cooling capacity. Yes, exactly.
Now, I would think all of us agree that project financing is essential to sort of reduce the cost of financing for projects.
Correct.
And for bankability purposes, you would require the banks to get a certain demand curve for the project. If you keep the situation fluid by saying we'll follow demand, you only get financing for a portion of the entire district cooling project.
Right.
That's not sufficient. And that basically defeats the entire purpose of a project finance for the project. So how do you wish to tackle that?
Yeah, that's the first question I asked Mr. Utpal Guha, who did a big presentation in the MEET conference, and I asked him, can we do project financing in tranches? And he said, yes, we can. You can go to the same bank and give him a business model for non-recourse financing, that for the coming 5 years, this is my business model, and this is what I'm going to do. They will finance for that. After the 5th year, 6th year, you can still add capacity and go and get the refinancing done from the same bank. This is what he said. I'm not a financing expert, so I can't say anything much about it.
Just the contention here is refinancing would be for that particular portion that's been financed.
No, for additional capacity.
The additional capacity, you then cannot agree terms upfront.
What the banks want most is the cash flow guarantee. That is the offtake guarantee. Somebody has to provide that. If the government could do just this much, that if there is no load available, we will guarantee that this much of offtake we will pay you. Or any authority which is created for this, if they can give this guarantee, the non-recourse financing could become very easy. Okay.
Thank you. George?
We call Mr. Bilal Haidar. He's a business development director of Kharafi National. And they have just now finalizing the financing of a 30,000 ton to serve ethnic, including plant room, ETS, and piping. Bilal, how are you managing?
Not bad. I'm not complaining. It has been a rough road. There has been a lot of challenges, and this is not restricted only to the fact that it's a district cooling, because the same problems would have occurred with any financing for a standalone building, plant. And I think on the contrary, that standalone plant would have had even more problems, because this is going to be part of the real estate financing, which is nowadays a very serious, if not very unlikely thing to happen. While in district cooling, there are certain parameters, there are certain factors that if you throw them into the equation, if you build your case properly, which is what you should do in any business endeavor, then you can get there. Private equities, potential lenders are hungry for investments. They can see the merits of it. They just need you to tell them that you have learned from whatever happened in the last 5-6 years. We all know that in the heat of the moment, so many things were overlooked, so many things were not properly addressed maybe,
which is a healthy thing because now it has accelerated that learning curve. So everybody who is involved, all the stakeholders, real estate developers, master developers, district cooling companies, as well as bankers now are realizing what to look for, how to look for, to build the case.
So one of the lessons learned, I know, is that you took over a year to negotiate the service contract with the end user,
right,
to get your anchor customer right, to put the off-taker to the bank. What did you do right there?
It's an education process. You have to educate everybody who is involved in that because, well, I think most of us have been, kind of used to the conventional approach to business. And district cooling, in terms of a business, is rather new. And you need to let everybody know what are the advantages and the disadvantages. I'm not talking from neither commercial nor from a technical point of view, but from a business perspective. You need to enlighten everybody about it. And it's not an easy task, as we all know. Any time that you need to educate people, be it a consultant, be it a contractor, be it an end user, you have to take him through the whole locomotion, take your time, and make sure that you get there.
Bilal, can we be a bit specific about the loan term, the years, what percentage were equity, what percentage was financing?
Specific, I cannot be specifics. I can give you some hints and ideas.
Yes.
I would say that a concession is usually anywhere between 25 and 30 years, and this is, it has to do with the fact that machineries or equipment, as the colleagues have mentioned, this is their expected life, so this is what you should be
building. But your term with the bank, I mean, they
with
give
the
you
bank,
8 years, 10 years, 12?
It's above 10 years. It's above 10 years.
Good.
And the terms are really very satisfactory.
You have to put 30% equity or 40% equity?
Without getting into the actual percentage, what I can tell you is banks, they need to be convinced that you are into this business. You're not just trying to rob their money and, just flee away. Okay. So they want to see that you are putting a certain equity that translate your commitment to the project.
As a conclusion, we say that there is still hope for bank to finance district cooling.
It is there. It's, as I said, it's a rough road.
Yeah.
It's a rough road. I never
How
said
long
it's
it took
easy.
you to conclude the loan?
It's okay, and in our specific case, we went through 2 rounds because we wanted to improve the conditions, because we felt that there is room to improve it. So I would say that every cycle took basically around 4 or 5 months.
We leave it to you.
Let me ask you a question here. From the finance standpoint, let's assume tomorrow the state of Abu Dhabi and Dubai, all the GCCs, they decide all of a sudden we're gonna provide incentives for district cooling. Based on what? Like any other places. For example, I'm gonna give the example of United States, where I had the chance to practice this, and they give you incentives based on the level of energy savings. Basically, if you save a certain level, they give you a certain benchmark with the minimum and the cap. Now, means that what's the benchmark? The benchmark is all the same if you look worldwide. If we take, for example, Istidama, we take LEED, we take QSAS, Qatar Systems, we take, that's overall, we don't take the BREEAM. All of them, they're referring to ASHRAE 90.1. In ASHRAE 90.1 is going to give you the benchmark, which is Appendix C. Correct, Mr. George? That's the benchmark, all of them. Now, the question is, if ASHRAE, which the body, universal, is not giving credit for district cooling based on Appendix C, how can the government will give you credits? It's a big problem.
I'm not sure whether this is a statement or you're asking me to
I'm asking
answer.
you.
Yeah.
I'm asking you from finance wide. How let's assume I am the state representative. I will give you the money based on the energy saving, and you are telling me I am providing district cooling. But when if you do have to do an energy model based on ASHRAE 90.1, the code is not giving you credit. How I can give you?
But you're taking an assumption that this is the only way how the incentive can be made. There are different ways. Now, the ASHRAE arrangement is based on a certain mature market with a certain condition, and that's why they came up with this, which doesn't mean necessarily it have to apply over here. ASHRAE or any other regulatory body can come up with a different incentive schemes and can apply it. So we don't want to limit ourselves to whatever is currently existing.
The state now, today, let's mistake, today, Istidama, QSAS, LEAD are benchmarking on this.
Yeah.
It's a problem. I'm not saying that's the reality. It's a problem. But somewhere has to address it.
How would you address it, Yama?
Sorry?
How would you address it? How would you create an incentive?
Sorry?
I'm bouncing the question back to you.
Okay.
How would you create an incentive to district cooling?
I will create an incentive.
I
will develop, for example, I will develop a benchmark, a system, base case system, where with, for example, a water-cooled system as either standalone or a distributed system.
So there you go. You are coming with a new benchmark. That's what I was saying.
No,
and you don't have to limit yourself to whatever ASHRAE has dictated already.
The benchmark in both cases, the proposed case, the base case, it's water-cooled system.
Salah, we agree with you. We want you to implement it.
I can't. I can't because ASHRAE is not giving credit for district cooling. How can you expect us to give you credit, guys?
ASHRAE is giving, but I mean, they are acknowledging that water-cooled are more.
Water-cooled, it gives you.
Water-cooled is more energy efficient than air-cooled, and they are putting a lower benchmark.
That's fine. Water-cooled, I could have a dedicated
but
plant.
Actually, LEAD as well. Also, LEAD give 1 or 2 credit, 1 up to 2 credit.
They give you like a credit, but they don't give you on the level of energy. I worked 2 days, 2 years in NYSERDA, which is like 2 days, New York State Research and Development Authority. It means in New York, and I was in charge of $2 million every year for granted to give it to hospitals and company. And the only benchmark is to go and measure it based on ASHRAE 90.1. If these guys, they do good, they will get up to 400,000. If the ASHRAE is not giving credit, you cannot expect district cooling to flourish while ASHRAE is not giving you credit.
But
correct?
Can I just answer? First of all, as I said, this is a mature market, and we shouldn't really at that stage really compare a mature market to a market that is still evolving. Are there other ways how we can create incentives from other regulatory bodies and the government? Of course there are. So we shouldn't really restrict ourselves to thinking that this is what ASHRAE is doing, and accordingly everything has to trickle down from there. Is this a problem for financing? I say no, because so far, and for the last 10 or whatever years, people have been securing financing in different ways for the district cooling. We are securing it nowadays. This will definitely give a boost or a help, but it doesn't mean that we cannot do it without it.
One of the things is going to push quickly the district cooling is incentives. Without incentives, you can have a hurdle. I agree with you, you can have this, but the open question is, we are not talking only ASHRAE, we are talking about the fact today Abu Dhabi Istidama is mandatory, I guess.
I object. You want to push district cooling or standalone system? Come to us.
No, I said, what I'm said.
I'll give you a chair here.
Why Istidama and cooling, they are not giving credit for district cooling? Based on ASHRAE, why?
Your Honor, are we having the wrong lawyer? Aren't they supposed to defend standalone system?
I guess you've done such a good job that he's converted now. So maybe we can just close the session today.
No, there is an integrity. The integrity is to look on each system. But standalone system, it could be water-cooled, air-cooled, split system, whatever. And without defining a fair benchmark, no system is going to take off. No.
Okay, if nobody has more questions to the witness, can we call the next witness, please? Thank you. Thank you very much.
A couple, Bilal, if I may. Just on the project you got in ADNIC, Are you imposing any conditions on the developers to ensure their systems are efficient and things like that?
Yeah, as I said, I wouldn't call them conditions. You need to have, it means what are kind of liabilities, what kind of, pressure it can put on them in any situation. And if the developer who has realized that he is freeing a lot of space to build and sell or rent additionally, if he realizes that he's going to get some carbon credit, if he realizes that he's going to get lower initial costs and capex from electrical and all other stuff, and they are willing to share a little bit of those liabilities, which is the case in more than a project. Now Georgie explained one angle of how TDIC has approached this issue. There are also a lot of various angles that you can look at it. Then those conditions will be agreeable to the parties concerned.
Okay, but I mean, in terms of the financial burden, if you can reduce your loads down, rationalize things by imposing conditions on the developers, then your financial cost is going to be less. So I mean, the question is, are you policing the designs and things like that?
Are we?
Checking, auditing developers?
Part of the financial, let's say, requirement is to have a technical advisor that will audit and confirm that whatever is there is not an amateur, like Mr. Salah has been referring many times, nor that the financial model that you have assumed with whatever parameters have been, done on a haphazard manner.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, this is a business. It's a business of securing money to everybody who is involved. Then you have to have the proof that you can make money, and not just ride the wave and say, yeah, that business is good. It's generating money somewhere else. Let me go and do it.
I've got a song request here. Someone's asking you to sing.
To sing?
Yeah.
Well, if I know how to sing, then I would be making a lot of money, but somewhere else.
No, it's with regard to transparency again, really, of costs for the end users.
Yeah.
It's just there are sums of money which are allocated. The consumption charges are fairly well. You can figure them out, cost of electricity per ton and all that. So but in terms of capacity charges and the consumption charges, there is still mystery on what they are. We just don't know.
Yeah, we have realized that this has been an issue in a lot of developments and a lot of district cooling plants, but in my opinion, this is something that is one of the easiest to address. When you structure your fee in a way that it guarantees certain, obligations for the developer, but at the same time, it's clear for the developer how am I gonna use and why I should ask for 1,000 instead of 2,000 or vice versa. When you put that structure fee in this way and be clear about it from day one, then why should I be in a grayish position, as you were mentioned?
The project that you're speaking about earlier, you've already signed up for your sales purchase agreements?
With a lot of not all of them, but with most of them.
Yeah.
And it's a unified sales agreement with everyone. So,
yeah.
And they have been informed by the master developer, and we insisted on this when we started negotiating the concession, that a part of the concession is to have that sales agreement which is unified with all, and all the developers should know right from the beginning that it's going to cost them 1, 2, 3, 4.
As a cooling provider, district cooling provider,
yeah.
Would you allow a third-party audit of your books to show what or is everything closed up? You're not willing to share these things?
As I said, part of the bank's requirement and the equity providers is that they wanted to check both the financial model as well as the technical aspects of it, and we're open for that.
But from the bank's perspective, I mean, from the developer's perspective, are you willing to? Are you open?
We never thought about it because, to be honest, it has not been requested. If there are justification for that, we could always look at it.
Okay, why are you abusing the witness? You have to read public company. You can see their figures.
No one knows. I'd like to find out today.
So is my song to the liking of whomever sent
fine, thank you. A little bit out of tune, but it's fine. Thank you.
Anything else?
I have good news. We still have only 2 witnesses. Besides
news
Bilal.
for me. Thank you.
We will call now Adib Mudabbir again. Sorry, guys, you know, but this guy is giving the banks hard time for repayment. So he must have renegotiated hard the repayment, and we want to hear his story.
Long story.
The poor banks.
Long story and sad story. Okay. Actually, I would like to elaborate on the lending capacity nowadays. It has been reduced tremendously, you know, and this is causing, you know, the banks, especially in Dubai. I don't want to mention in other states of UAE because they are putting layers of restrictions. So if you are going ahead with a certain loan that has been approved for the infrastructure or for even something which is already built, they are putting massive restrictions on the cash movement. Even they are committed. So this is a matter that really is causing for us an obstacle. And as Mr. Haider was telling now, even though you have an exclusive agreement, you have a concession, you have done all your tasks, and you have went through the auditing cycle as their requirements, they are coming by new ways and means to tell you as an obstacle that delay this and we need to do this, you need to change this, this is not a capital requirements, this is an OPEX. So this is related to the lending capacity in the infrastructure project. While if you look to the infrastructure at the district cooling, it is more secured than any other business. Even though the IRR of it, as you have mentioned before, is low, but in the long term, you have secured your investment in a production of a plant that is capable to deliver chilled water on a certain period of time, and we are mentioning 20 years, and even though we have convinced the auditor for the pipeline 50 years, especially for the pipeline, if you have taken certain precautionary measures for the pipeline for a certain period of time, so they have prolonged the life cycle of the pipework, which is 50 years. And so what we are trying to say is the banks nowadays are really tough in their lending capacity, even though they have the money, which is not healthy, by the way. Okay, they have the money, but they don't want to let go. They want to keep it and looking into a certain unforeseen situation.
The central bank last month has issued a memorandum to the banks to increase the lending capacity because he noticed that their equity has increased and the lending capacity has decreased. So I hope, this will push them into a better position. Have you felt any change?
I don't want to be harsh in my answer. No comment.
No comment. Okay.
All right. Yeah, of course. All right.
Thanks, Adib.
Thank you.
We're gonna call our last witness, Mr. Abdullah Zini, and to hear his perspective from contracting side, how banks are giving him project financing, bid bonds, performance bonds, guarantees, and how is he managing that?
Thank you, George. Unfortunately, if I'm the last man, I don't like to close it badly. But anyhow now, due to the crisis, really, what happened now, all of us, we know. Even we are talking district cooling or we are talking standalone or any system now, the bank is very, very tough. Regardless of your books, let us talk now very briefly. If your book showing that you have a good projects, everything's moving, cash flow is supposed to be done, but unfortunately, most of our district cooling provider, if they look practically, all the bank, they are afraid to give you anything financing about district cooling. Even we are contractor, the moment we mentioned about district cooling, they are very much afraid. The reason for that, the books for all of them, starting Tabreed, Empower, everybody, I don't like to mention it again, all of them, if you go by practical life, it showed that the cash flow or the investment, it was not the way it's being shown in the book. Although now we are providing all the documents required by the bank, we show them the cash flow, we show them all the requirement of documentation, still they are very much afraid of financing anything belong to district cooling. Not only particular district cooling, when we talk again about the contracting real estate. The reason behind that, especially in this country, unfortunately, again I will say it, the way it's been proved, it was not attractive. Yes, Salah. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
It means, based on your real experience here, there is a mistrust, or there is a glitch of confidence between district cooling provider and the lender or the banks, based on previous experience, based on previous mistakes.
Right.
Now, if you're gonna go back, if you have to redo it, what are the areas that we really should focus it to improve it? And what are the areas where we really made a lot of mistakes?
As you know, you go the first time, it will be easier. If you made mistake, to rectify the mistake will take more time. Now it's very, very tough to go to the bank, to tell him now, this is a mistake, I will learn. However, start recently, within these 2 months, to be improved a little bit with a tough time. You have to go back to improve it. How you improve it, you will tell them that the mistake happened there, it will not be repeated, more secure, they will give you more condition. They are imposing really so many things now. And now instead of financing to be certain, let us say 60, 70, they are going very low. They take color rate, they take all the guarantee they wanted. Now to know that, I know now some projects, even now somebody from GDF just mentioned to me that even in Europe, even here in Middle East, you will find very difficult about district cooling. Now, if you talk about here in the area, the history does not help. When you go to business before 4 years about real estate, everybody is very happy to, support you and to finance you. Now the history, it was not. To go back is not impossible, like somebody has been successful. Now recently we know it's tough, but it's not impossible.
I cross-examine the standalone system. For example, I'll give you few. Burj Al Arab installed 9,000 ton, well, they need 4,500. Emirates Towers, the same, installed double capacity.
Right.
And Duset Hotel installed 2,400 and required 1,200 ton. I mean, with this additional spare capacity, and how are standalone financing, and how could they learn from their mistake?
They never, up to now, still continuing now. Most of the project is coming now. Still we talk about standby, for standalone specifically, because for district cooling always you have openings, you can expand, the demand could be go more. For standalone, you put your system, you have to live with it. It's really additional, we know, and is not being learned. Most of the new projects,
and they are able to hide it. The problem with standalone, they are able to hide this excess capacity.
No, listen.
It's district cooling that is exposing them.
No one is hiding. We are playing open book here. I'm gonna tell you, if you go to Emirates Mall and you say that was signed twice, you're gonna blame who? You're gonna blame a lousy designer. The cooling load that were not corrected correctly. You had to deal with amateurs. This is what is killing the business, from district cooling, from standalone. We have a lot of amateurs, and that's they are killing the business. How you could go and estimate the load twice? It means 10%. You can't do 20, 15,000. What you need 9,000. Could you accept this?
There is 60 cases against consultant in U.S. against professional indemnity and this. They make us pay here billions, probably close to $1 billion dirham every year for professional indemnity. There isn't a single case in court that was won. I was part of a case in Abu Dhabi. It was an Egyptian consultant with the aid of Sheikh Khalifa. And we proved the case that he installed double capacity and caused the high humidity in the building, fungus, mildew, destruction of the building, which was standard in the US. You will win it right out. The court could not deal with it. Still, I mean, our courts here are not able to deal with lack of professionalism and kind of sue the designer or the contractor for these shortages as such. Again,
for
it's
that
about
reason,
regulation.
For that reason, we are saying now the industry itself, even it took standalone contracting, MEB, district cooling, the image is not so fine, is not attractive. Let us talk about this one. When you go to bank, he knows these problems about over.
So we are in the same dirty boat.
No. We are not in the same dirty, because at the big picture, the bank, they may give somebody a loan because it's within the building, because somehow the DDK is with the building. But the district cooling experience and overall, it had it made some mistakes that really it's affecting that reputation.
The problem is repeated mistakes.
Sorry?
Repeated mistakes.
Yeah, that's fine. And that's why I think we have to be frank with ourselves. We have to also to be somehow gentle, take the credit, but also blame ourselves that a lot of people, they designed wrong. That's why we are getting to that space.
Okay, but financing, still about financing, if we talk about financing, Salah, you can't say now, when we talk today, we said there is advantage for district cooling. When you come to financing, part of it, we are talking about crisis, part of it we talk about mistakes, repeated mistake, part of it is something being over capacity, part of it the planner himself, master planner, the developer. All this accumulated to give you those difficulties. Part of it the crisis, we can't say the impact of the crisis, part of it. Before the bank was giving district cooling, real estate, everything without any differentiation.
Yeah, I mean, the crisis is unfortunate. I mean, it's hit everyone. But in terms of financing standalone systems, I mean, the costs are a lot more manageable. If I've got to provide small-scale cooling within my building, then it's a lot cheaper than it would be if I'm having to invest in a portion of a district cooling plant, ETS, and reticulation network. So it's more manageable. The cost is still there, and there may be benefits in the energy.
The bank will find it easier, but still, even the cost of 100 million or 70 million, when you have in concept the agreement with the bank, I don't think they are looking for this one. It will be easier, but still you have the same difficulties. Documents has to be the same, guarantee the same, but instead, as you mentioned, if you are talking that standalone cheaper, but still you have the same difficulties as concept.
It's more managed. I mean, in terms of the banks, I mean,
yes.
if they're doing a building, they've obviously got people moving in the building. They've got it's already financed. Essentially, they've got they've sold off plan or whatever they've done.
Because that will be part of something bigger than that.
Yeah, the district cooling has more risk. So all we're saying is really it needs to be more carefully planned. You know, small scale, and we don't want to go through this again. The recessions go through in cycles. We don't want to go through this again in another 10 years. I mean, we just want to have something which can ride over this. It will still suffer, but to less extent.
That's right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
George, do you... Okay. Can we standalone witnesses?
Muhammad Ibrahim from DC Pro.
Now that's interesting.
No, he's an Ashray specialist.
I guess he didn't get any bonus this year, did he?
Now I'm in trouble. Mohammed, you are a known specialist in cooling plant optimization and controls, whatever. Let me ask you a question. In general now today, if we want to construct a cooling plant, we pay generally about 7,000 dirhams by ton.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
If you want to, after 10 years, if the developer want to get cash flow, how much we should be expecting by month, roughly?
Very difficult question. Depend on your operating and maintenance scenario. If they are well operating it, maintaining your chemical in your condenser water very well, maintaining the chiller with good contract with chiller manufacturer,
it will make sense that it will not derate it a lot, because the network is the network. The ETS is the ETS. It will sustain for long time. Only your chiller duration time, that is what will have.
From finance standpoint, and correct me here, Mr. Ghalib, if I want to get that right, I shall expect around 14,000 riyal by month. During the last 10 years, I'm going to have a wash for my plant. If I'm paying 7,000 today, on 10 years, that put it double. Double. 10 years double, guys here. Dr. Ala, 10 years double, Rami. 10 years double. If today cooling plant, you construct a cooling plant, it costs you 7,000 riyal roughly, correct? If you want to get your money back in 10 years, almost double. Yeah. Simple cash flow, 14,000 now. From finance wise, is the market today is ready for that? To keep it healthy. The way we said this morning, it has to be a win-win. It has to be a healthy model. It has to be a positive model to keep going. If you are losing the money, down the road, the bank, they will never give you the money.
How did you get double?
Huh?
How did you get double?
The expertise here. Complex.
The first year you give, let's say, 6-7%.
If you put your money in the bank, you are saying?
No, you are borrowing.
Borrowing the money.
Borrowing money.
Yes.
Future inflation.
But there is annual repayment. Normally, if the bank give you over 10 years at 8%, so you take 5 years average, it will be 40-45%, the average.
The same. It's 100% continue. If, let's say, you borrow today 1,000, okay, and with an interest of 7%, you apply it to your computer, it's very simple. Yes. In 10 years, it will be double, 2,000.
If you don't repay, but there is annual repayment in between.
Including about 7 years payment, and in 3 years you get them free first. Two from international bank can go up to 3. So based on that, you will have double the amount.
It's a simple model. Overall, it's not accurate 100%, but that's what it is.
Now this is not the question for the bank. It is the question for the
market. The market is not for the bank. The market.
For you,
in order to be sustained, you keep going. You need to get that 14,000.
Okay, but now why you ask the question? This is I ask you. But
yes.
But the same thing applies on
all of us. It means it has to be healthy,
yes.
dedicated plan or whatever. That's the market. Unless we answer this question, we're gonna be always the mistrust between district cool provider and the bank.
Yeah, but if you want to look at the total story, the life cycle cost. I am now doing a huge project feasibility study. Okay. I am in the middle of it now. If you look at it, you have to talk about 3 elements. A district cooling plant, let us say. You have the initial cost, you have the O&M, and you have the electric bill. Or the O&M, I will assume that spare parts, consumables, and things like that. Electric bill, I mean either electric or water compared to electric, or both of them together. So when you look at it, you will find out amazing figures. If you are talking standalone DX system, you will find out that almost 78% of the total life cycle cost on 20 years is electric bill. Unbelievable. Now, when you talk district cooling, you will find out. Sorry?
The mic.
Okay. So you will find out that the majority of your life cycle cost for standalone systems is in the electric bill. The O&M is assumed at 5% of the initial cost of the equipment. So it is 100% of the cost, plus it is 200% of the cost actually, because you have to replace those commercial equipment after 10 years. So in 20 years, you pay for the price of the equipment twice, and you pay 5% every year, so you get 300%. When you talk about district cooling, you don't replace the equipment in 20 years, you only pay 2% or 2.5% for O&M annually, but you are penalized for a huge initial cost. So you end up with the initial cost costing you, instead of 10% probably, which is the DX small systems, you will end up with 35%. This is where the investment lies and your problem with the money comes.
That means, we had a case in Dubai, it's close Burj Dubai. We have 2 towers with almost 6,000 tons plant, and it was designed to be connected to Empower. And later on, the owner decided to look on the feasibility study both. So I had the chance to run within a month, like comprehensive study, including everything, the bank, whatever. We find out that constructing that plant, it was about 50 millions, the first cost, which handled. But down the road, that the owner within 7 years, including maintenance plant, including insurance on facility management, everything, he will pay after 7 months. And sorry, after 7 years. And that's when everything, that's why he made a decision. First of all, I want to be free in the future, in control, because if there is inflation in the rating. Second thing, I want to control my building. And he decided to move for a dedicated cooling plant. It's a reality here. It's a mixed-use project in Dubai. That's why, unless we have that answer the finance, we will always be in the same position.
But you need also to connect this statement to the interest of the guys. Who are the stakeholders? Now, if the owner, if he doesn't pay the electric bill, he will make sure that his initial cost and his O&M is to the lowest possible. So he will go stand alone. But if he is renting that building and he is responsible to pay the electric bill, he will go district cooling. And we need to look at it from a complete picture. I don't care when I buy the car at 100,000, if it is not insured, then I will carry all the expenses. So I will go to a very good brand to make sure that my maintenance is low and my fuel consumption is low. But if it is a company car and I don't pay for it, if they buy me the worst car on earth, I will say, okay, never mind. Tomorrow it breaks down, they bring me a new one. So this applies to the building. The owner of the building, if he is going to pay for the electric bill, he will definitely go for the lowest running cost possible, which is, majority is the electrical cost. But if he is not paying it, why he cares? This is what the market goes. So we need to look at it that way.
Salah, you are the enemy of the state. You managed to convince him to switch from district cooling to stand alone.
No.
Shame on you.
No.
That's the reality. Guys, it's about to be frank and integrated. It's about the reality, guys. And the less we address this, regardless district cooling or standalone, we're going to be turning. We don't have that closed loop about win-win. And that's what the industry, the gentleman was calling this morning, it has to self, that's I think Prashant, it has to come with self.
In fact, Salah, I agree with you, because if you take the 6,000 tons, they should have signed with Empower no more than 5,000 tons. And they would have paid with Empower around 4 million a year against 50 million, and add to that maintenance fees, they would not have paid cover back, not in 7 years, but in 15 years. But the problem where Empower is making, they are selling the ton hour at 56 fills.
Yes.
While if they get TSE water, and even with 38 fills, they should be able to sell it at 45. I think they are overcharging on the ton hour.
It's only overcharge plus this 33 cents, sorry, there's 33 fields that the power company is charging to the district cooling. It's killing the entire model because they get in the slab, in the higher slab versus other one. That's why I think on overall we need to think about closing the loop and really.
Okay, Salah, but if you allow me, regarding the optimization, which was your first question, between the optimization of the district cooling and optimization in a standalone system. As all of us know, that is in district cooling, you have budget that allow you to put advanced control system, which can manage the diversification between your several connection and several buildings. And this here allow you to even manage your cooling towers, manage your chillers, manage staging in and staging out, and your thermal storage. This lead you to better optimization for the plant room and sustainability. Reversa, if you work with a standalone system, which you don't have that budget, you normally go with building management system, PMS system, which not have you a lot of way to maneuver around your optimization. Normally it is fixed flow system, fixed chiller system, air-cooled one, if you go in that range of one single building. Even if you go to the cooling tower system, but you cannot manage to have a variable flow system. From this perspective, as control and automation engineer, I can advise you always that is the district cooling give you more advantage in control and instrumentation and optimization and trending for all your power, because you have single place to focus in large tonnage. Instead of every building, normally it will become a very small part of a standalone system to focus. You need to start to optimize it and to start to rework it. This is the answer to optimization of the district. The question was general.
I guess from our side, thank you.
Just on optimization, I mean, it's easier to optimize our building rather than try to optimize all your ETSs. It's more manageable is what I'm trying to come across. And if there's mistakes made on a standalone system, okay, it's not on the magnitude as you would have with the district cooling. District cooling obviously is leveraged, the risk, because if you're not using the plant, it's inefficient. In terms of what George was saying on the George, what you're saying on the Mr. George? So on the, you're saying if there's a 5,000 ton demand or something or other, and it's actually 6. Why is there a difference? Say, yeah. But I mean that as far as the designers are concerned, I mean they should optimize their design anyway. I mean, so what they want is what they want basically. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's a problem because you put safety margins on safety margins. It's all compounded, but the core base load should be the same whether it's. Not to improve the efficiencies, but to optimize it. I mean, it's more manageable. Yeah, yeah.
I challenge you with a single group. Show me one optimized building.
No, that they can be optimized. I'm not saying that they are. And O&M.
Optimization can apply to anything. You can optimize a small split unit. You can optimize the chiller. It's a matter of money and cost.
Yeah.
Does a small cheap system where optimized, and can you buy industrially grade control system
that is
for a commercial application?
Which cannot allow you to maneuver.
Look, me and Muhammad were challenged in the address hotel. The guys there told us we installed the state of art of control. I told, show us. He told me it's Siemens, it's like PLC, it's there. We found that it wasn't time-stamped, the report was useless.
It's having the right people to understand it and to use it. That's the problem, yeah? It's not.
No, it's not really.
I can have a
Muhammad, as a witness, have you ever seen a standalone system optimized, even on Dubai Mall, which is a 1 million square meter?
No, not at all. And we tried even to advise a lot of things, but the problem, your limitation is the system. And let us talk about market trend. Any district cooling, they now working with PLC systems, which is a higher grade industrial system. In a building, impossible to put PLC, which is so industrial, programmer logic controller. So that here your limitation is how many loops you can program. Normally the PMS system came with a fixed loop, even if you have large tonnage building.
You just revised Al Ain Mall standalone system.
Exactly.
Was that, is it a complete disaster?
Of course.
Let me answer that. That a complete disaster, I agree, because the designer was a complete disaster. He's talking about variable primary, and in seconds of operation, he's talking about constant flow. How you can imagine that? That's you can what you expect from a Lauser design to give you.
Look, I mean, Salah, if that people are, whenever they are using people like Muhammad or like Mike to design a control system, they are getting there. But most consultants even don't have a control division. I mean, even Paul, I mean, you are a big and acknowledged consultant. You find always that this is a difficult area in your company, isn't it?
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's the BMS controls as a part of it's an IT system now. Really, it's not it's roped in with CCTV and everything. It's not a system on its own, but it has more challenges. I mean, to optimize the district cooling plant is relatively simple. I mean, the parameters you're controlling is to the temperatures and to balance to the load. I mean, it's not as sophisticated as a building when you've got all different subsystems competing with each other. So, you know, you guys on the district cooling have got a fairly easy job compared to a building manager.
Yeah. Okay.
Jury? Well, thank you very much, everybody. It has been not as challenging as we expected, so we expect a more exciting and more kind of challenging and aggressive debate tomorrow. But just to summarize of the today's sessions, it has been extremely informative for everybody, and I'm sure everybody in the room have learned at least one thing about the other party's system. Just some few points of consideration for tomorrow's sessions. Can we please just be a bit more focused on the topics that we are discussing? I noticed that some of the witnesses didn't come, so just can we confirm the number of witnesses for each party, and if you have a backup, somebody didn't come, so you know exactly how many we have. So at least we have equivalent from the two systems. We noticed that there is some kind of a mix between equipment and system efficiency. We need to clarify this in the debate tomorrow. And there is like a question of, can we have an agreed answer from both system, the standalone and district cooling parties, on application where district cooling should not be considered and the applications where standalone should not be considered? And I think this idea can be very helpful for for everybody who's attending. There is as well some mix between having a proper neutral analysis and just mixing with past experiences, deficiencies. Shouldn't be the case. We shouldn't just relate to and in some cases we had some analysis that based on pure personal experience and some myth in some areas. So just let's focus on facts and figures, please. And we hope that we can see more discussions on each other on how the two systems can be integrated with the utilities and for better sustainability and for better efficiency. And I guess that's it from me. I don't know if the team from that's from us, the technical team here, and myself. So if there is anything else from the jury, actually the jury, can we have a bit more active jury tomorrow, please? Because you are the end users, you should tell us where are the problems and show the issues with both systems. It will be more beneficial for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nawal. And I take your point that tomorrow we'll ensure and we'll do our best to get more witnesses, and so there's equal representation on both sides. And just also let you know, though we are supposed to start at 11 o'clock tomorrow, we are still happy to open up pre-summit briefing. That's for tomorrow. And
you could, if you wish to, assemble at 9 o'clock and plan your strategy for the day if you wish. So that's an option that's open to both teams, and it's up to you to work it out among yourselves if you wish to meet tomorrow at 9 o'clock, and we are happy to accommodate that. Yes. So on that note, thank you for coming, and thank you for participating in such an enthusiastic manner. Appreciate that on behalf of Climate Control Middle East and CPI industry. We do look forward to seeing you tomorrow here. Thank you.